Hey. Closer to my dreams. If you are trying to get closer to your revenue dreams, then you want these 4 tips to close more sales. I'm LizJSimpson, founder of the Big Money Movement, and the question I get over and over and over again is, Liz, I need help closing more sales for my business. So in this video, I'm going to highlight 4 tips that I think are paramount for you to secure the bag and close more deals. First and foremost, I think that you have to be sold on your solution. If we are looking to close more deals, you need to make sure that you're sold on your solution. Here's what that looks like. We know that in any interaction, someone is being sold. And passion is contagious. Your enthusiasm is contagious. So before you come to any sales conversation, make sure that you check your physiology. Do you feel confident? Are you pumped up? There's some moments where when I'm showing up for sales conversations, I have a smooth vibe, like my song Closer. And there's sometimes that I need a jolt, right? And so it's like a Rick Ross, Young Jeezy type of moment, because I'm really just trying to train my brain and exercise my brain to prepare for the conversation that I'm trying to have. Also, when we talk about being sold on your solution, when you think about it, do you energetically feel like the solution that you're going to present to a client is going to create a desired transformation for them? Do you feel like it's mutually beneficial? It's so much easier for us to close the deal when we believe in the solution that we're going to present. So first, make sure that you're sold on yourself and your solution. Second, really, after you're sold on yourself, now it's time to move yourself out the way and insert yourself in the shoes of your buyer. You want to thoroughly understand the status quo of the buyer. Here's why this is important. We know that human beings, they will trust that you have the solution the better that you're able to articulate the problem. Status quo is business as usual. So for instance, what is the problem that they're facing right now? How are they defining that problem? What have they tried before? What's important for them? What are the obstacles that they face? What does that transformation look like? And when you think about the transformation that they desire, is there a quantifiable goal attached to it? Are they looking for this transformation so that they can have 50% more productivity or so that they can increase revenue by 10%? What are the numbers that are important to them? And then secondly, how do they qualify the transformation? We know that human beings make emotional buying decisions that they justify with logic. And when I work with clients on helping them to land corporate deals, for some reason, there's something about this word corporate that we forget that we're in the business of people. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm doing business with this chief information officer. So I gotta have all these stats and figures and data. And it's like, yes, be armed with that. But one of my favorite movies is Tombstone, and they say, play the player, right? Like, so you also have to know what's in it for that human being. We subconsciously make decisions emotionally. There's this amazing study that they did in Psychology Today. And what they did is they studied individuals who had brain trauma. And when the section of your brain, or for those individuals where the section of their brain that impaired emotion, when they studied those individuals, because the section of their brain was impaired that controlled emotion, they were unable to make decisions. Their entire decision-making was impaired because of that emotional component of the brain. We literally cannot make decisions without emotion. So be armed with that information and understand what's in it for this human being. Why are they so motivated for this transformation? Is it for personal achievement? Is it so that they can have rest and peace? What do they want to do with this information? And make sure that as you prepare to close a sale, that you don't negate the emotional impact of that transformation for the client. All right, so we know that we first have to be sold, and then we're going to come to the conversation fully armed with the status quo, understanding the quantifiable impact as well as how to qualify the emotions and the emotional impact for that buyer. Now, third, when we go to present our solution, we want to focus that solution on the buyer and make the buyer the hero of that story. Here's what this looks like. One of my favorite quotes by Albert Einstein says that if I had 60 minutes to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes defining the problem and 5 minutes on the solution. Here's the grave mistake that most individuals make. Their proposals are these 10-page documents where they're like, this is my company's history, and these are all the employees that we have on our company, and here are all the nuances and details and the scope of work of all of the things that we can do for you, and here's the pricing, and we present all of this information to the buyer, and it's all about us. But instead, when you present your solution, I would present the majority of my proposal would just be repeating what I understood from the client when I captured that information about the status quo. So John, based off of our conversation, I believe this is your goal. This is what you've tried before. Here are the obstacles that you face. Here's the timeline that's of interest to you right now. Here's the value. John, did I capture that correctly? Is that the right experience? If we're gonna partner together, I wanna make sure that I understand you correctly so we can partner well. Yes, that's perfect. And what's interesting is, we call this a situation summary when we train our clients on our proprietary process. And the majority of the time, clients are sold on the situation summary. I can't tell you how many clients that will say, Liz, oh my gosh, you know our company better than we know ourselves, so heck yes, let's work together. Mind you, they've said yes before I've even presented my solution or my pricing, right? If you find that clients are pushing back on price is an easy objective. It's never really about the price. It's the fact that they don't feel understood or they don't see the value in what you offer. So when you're looking to close sales, if you are fighting over price, that is transactional, that's a commodity, that is like low-hanging fruit, right? Instead, you want to be a trusted advisor who's anchoring your solutions in the value, right? Okay, so that's the third tip, making sure that we create this story in the proposal phase where the client is the hero of that story and we're really mirroring what we've heard from them. 4 is what I call the GPS close. I don't know what it is about closing sales that gives people so much like trepidation and anxiety. They're like, oh my God, how do I ask for the business? How do I ask for the business? And for me, it's like, don't ask, just assume. Just assume it's yours. So let's say that I've presented this story, my client's the hero, I've anchored them in the value, I've properly mirrored all of the language and expectations that I've heard from them from our discovery conversations, and now it's that fateful moment where I'm finally revealing how we're gonna work together and what that investment level will be. Keep note, investment, not price. We'll talk about that later. So what that investment level will be. And what I asked the client is instead of asking them about agreement to the investment level first, I first want their agreement to the solution. Based off of the options that you see, which best resonates with you and your organization and your culture? Make the conversation about the solution. The investment level can sometimes confuse the conversation because you might get an objection about investment and that become the focus of the conversation when really what you're presenting to the client is wrong. So I first want to get their agreement to the investment level, and once I have that, then it's all about the GPS close, right? So it's like, what's the next step? All right, in 300 feet, turn right, and then 2 miles later, turn left, right? That's how you want to navigate the close. So John, awesome. So the next step is, what I'm going to do is I'll send over our master service agreement with the scope of work, and then I can send over an invoice for your first, 50% of the engagement. I'll have that over to you, and then we can schedule a call for our kickoff meeting. How does that sound? Now, all of a sudden, if the client has an objection to us working together, that's going to come up. But I'm basically assuming the sale. I'm saying, look, everything that I'm hearing from you thus far lends to my thought that you're going to move forward with that. So let me illuminate what the next steps are. If you have pushback on that, let me know. Otherwise, we can avoid all of these awkward moments of like, yes, yes, no, no, maybe you don't want to work together, what? The awkward silence, right? And then we can just move on to the next step. So those are my 4 tips for closing sales. Let's continue this conversation because now that you have an outline of 4 tips for closing sales, that's like the science of sales, meaning this particular steps. But it's how you communicate. It's the art of sales that's most critical. So click this next video where we're gonna talk about important sales skill sets so that you can better navigate closing big money deals. Here's that next video.